few weeks ago I had an epic adventure around the top of Scotland with Dad and some ex-Scottish bike racers, and as you can imagine it was just a barrel of laughs for 3 solid days. So I'm going to take you on the journey, show you where we went, show you some of the amazing scenery that we saw, and for anyone that's considering doing it, I've sort of mapped out a bit of a route that you can follow too. So just sit back, enjoy the scenery, and I'll show you around the top of Scotland. This is the start of our journey off to sunny Scotland. I've lost him already. So we were off just as soon as I figured out how to open this fuel cap on my BMW S1000XR. Not easy for someone like me that's just used to using a key. It what?
It won't open if the ignition.
Oh right. Oh yeah. This is the first leg of the journey. We're leaving from Loughborough now, where we just picked Dad's bike up, and we'll probably do 100 miles on this tank, get somewhere, have some lunch, and then we're staying at Ian McPherson, who's an ex-Scottish bike racer I'm sure many of you have heard of. And we're up there tonight.
Yeah, I always can't find it. Tell me your postcode.
Where are you?
I'm at Abercrombie Place West.
And then the top on the right after that.
Third on the right, okay.
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
Look at the state of us in our inflatable traffic cone attire.
Before we got here.
This is Ian McPherson's house. We're just about to leave from here to go to the Green Welly where we're meeting everyone else. So we left Ian McPherson's house and headed north from Helensburgh all the way up the A82 to get to the Green Welly, which was the first meeting point. The Green Welly is in a place called Tierum, where they've just discovered a gold mine and they're going to start digging gold for the next few years.
Yeah, just to let you know that Alistair's Taxi subscribes to your YouTube channel.
Thanks very much,
So,
everyone have a look.
Good to see you.
No worries, cheers.
Enjoy your ride out.
Thank you. Subscriber, we found a subscriber.
Is he on video?
We found the only one. There you go, never. There you go, everyone.
Just in case something happens, guys, I can come and pick
Right.
it up.
I'll keep that, Alistair.
Sunday now.
Thanks very much. From the Green Welly I started to get my first taste of some of the amazing scenery we're about to witness over the next few days, and we headed up the A82 to catch the Corran ferry.
Yeah, we're at the Corran ferry, which takes us across to the Ardnamurchan Peninsula.
The what?
Ardnamurchan Peninsula.
From the Corran ferry it's a really short journey to Tierum Castle, where we had our first real stop of the trip. And since we've been home, I've done some research on this castle. It's around 800 years old, and unfortunately 2 decades ago it was bought by a family who wanted to convert it into a house, and there's been a planning dispute, so it's sat here for 2 decades just crumbling away into the sea until they can sort out what they're going to do with it. Just done a spot of lunch at the viaduct. This is where the Harry Potter train comes past, full of tourists. And now we're heading off to Ullapool, which is our next and final destination today. Day 2 complete, we travelled about 658 miles and we arrived in Ullapool where we're going to spend the night before we headed up further north around the coast tomorrow.
See in the background.
Yeah, I'm videoing.
Oh,
beautiful.
get to see in the background on that picture.
This is day 2. Where are we going today?
East, because it's dry if you go east. It's wet. Well, you're actually in the sea if you go west, but it rains in the west, so we're going east into the middle of the Scottish Highlands.
I didn't actually realise quite how far we'd come yesterday. We're pretty far north. I think if anyone had told me that's how far we were going in a day, I might not have signed up for it. Anyway, further north
We go.
And I'll check in
Northeast.
later. Northeast. Avoid the rain at all costs. Day 3 came and we were dicing with the Scottish weather, to say the least. A few guys went home because the forecast was so bad, but we braved it and we carried on heading up further north to do a loop that was going to take us all the way back round to eventually arrive back in Ullapool at night. The lunch stop for today. Now what I'm about to show you, I don't think you could ever believe, is at the top of Scotland. So we've got the rocky hillside that ends up at a sandy beach. And there's all the guys down there.
I'll get in the middle. I'll see you, Joe, now. Eat your heart out, boy.
And I never thought this channel would ever turn into a David Attenborough-esque channel, but what we were about to witness was one of the coolest things in nature I've ever seen. Day 3 complete, we arrived back in Ullapool for our final night here. So far we've travelled about 820 miles and this was our final night before heading back further south tomorrow. So we began our journey back further south where people started splitting off from the group, and our first stop was Inverness, and then we went through Inverness and up over the top of Aviemore, and just when I thought I'd seen it all in Scotland, some of the scenery there was absolutely breathtaking. And then there were two, just me and Dad left now, and our final leg of the journey was the last little stretch down the M6, and that is when disaster struck. We'd had 3 days of absolutely amazing weather, and I don't think it'd be a trip around Scotland without seeing some rain. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite expecting this much rain. got absolutely soaked to the bone, as I'm sure you can see here, but there was nothing that was going to take the smile off our faces. We travelled 1,300 miles over the 4 days, and I'm still smiling now. Anyone that's thinking about doing it, I cannot recommend it enough. Some of the scenery up there was absolutely mind-blowing, and I already can't wait for next year for the next trip.